I went to M-PESA and I said, look, you guys, you're in the business of people's phones being on. And someone's phone is off. They can't transact on M-PESA. They can't call, can't send SMSs. They can't buy data. They're like, fair enough. Give us your plan.
On today's episode of Business Edition, we feature the business On The Go, a business that was built to ensure that you can always charge your phone, no matter where you are.
Over 20 million people, I can say, have my app because of M-PESA.
Yeah. The founder, Brian, says tech was not his thing. He actually thought he would be a banker. But after meeting James Oyugi and working at eCitizen, he then changes his trajectory.
One of the biggest things that never left me is the fact that if you look at a business that can give you recurrent income, it's the equivalent of having an investment like in flats.
After visiting China and seeing how the charging business works, he then gets the idea to start On The Go.
In China, it's like a standard thing. Like in Shenzhen, basically everywhere has these machines. You pick a power bank here, you rent it here, you go drop it off in another place. It's everywhere.
He comes back to Kenya and leverages his relationships and networks to get On The Go off the ground.
How do you get, again, into contract with Kenya Airports Authority? Because that's not a small...
That's one we pushed for quite some time. Used our networks, managed to secure a pitch with the JKIA airport management team. Even they themselves wanted to outsource this whole charging thing. I went, pitched. That whole process took almost a year.
He then launches Games On The Go thereafter, a platform to give access to e-gaming. He talks about how getting onboarded onto the M-PESA app saved him 156 million shillings in possible marketing.
Like, look at the cost of what acquiring a betting customer is. It's not a joke. You see now here, our proposition has to be even harder because we're not giving a jackpot of 424 M. No. So
the M-PESA app has allowed him to get about 60,000 clients with 10,000 active clients on a regular basis with zero marketing.
I want to have 100,000 active monthly subscribers.
That's like times 10 of where you are right now.
It's times 10.
That's a lot.
But we've not marketed. We have not marketed.
This is a business edition that talks about the power of networks and leveraging relationships for success.
Hey guys, this is Barrack from Financially Incorrect. I am here to say thank you so much for the 50k plus people who have subscribed to Financially Incorrect. We really do appreciate you. When we crossed 50k, we had a nice, small, intimate party at our offices and we celebrated this milestone. I have convinced the powers that be that if we can get to 100k by December, we will throw a big party to celebrate with all of you guys. And now we have 3 different segments for you guys to watch. There's Financially Incorrect Business Edition, Financially Incorrect Uganda Edition, and Financially Incorrect the regular Kenyan edition. So please do, if you like our content, subscribe. If we get to 100k by December, we will throw the biggest party in East Africa. So please do subscribe. Hey guys, welcome back to Financially Incorrect Business Edition. I have another business for you, for us to discuss, for us to get into the money story and find out how it started and how it is successful and where it is right now. But before we get into that, let me just read a couple of comments from the last Business Edition episode we had out, which was the My Town Mall one. I have a couple of comments here I'm going to read. One from, his name is Oak on Software. That's his handle on YouTube. I always watch these interviews and one thing becomes clearer by the day. Employment will never get me to the level of these guys. And he has a person seconding that comment saying 100%. There's another comment from someone who says a product that makes me not sweat is a no-go zone. I'll take that shower. I think he's referencing the roll-on rock. There's a comment here as well that says great content, Barrack and Thuranera, but many adverts interrupting the flow. We will check on the adverts. I honestly don't know how many of them are in the episode, but we'll check on them to ensure you have a better viewing experience. There's a person that says, great pod, although short, can't be invited. Can I be invited once I boss up? I mean, even now you can come. We talk about, whatever money story. If you actually listen to all the Financially Incorrect episodes, you'll realize there's no money requirement per se. You don't need to have a certain amount of money to be on here. And then the last one, this guy is a genius. Invite him more often. More real estate. I can't understand this comment. I don't understand the grammar on that comment. But anyway, the last one I will read. The person says, could you please feature a friend of mine? He runs a successful hair transplant clinic. He had been able to restore people's confidence through hair restoration. He's been doing this for almost 15 years. Then there's someone underneath who asks what's the name of the clinic. Yeah, please tell us what's the name of the clinic. We would love to host them. on Business Edition. Also, for anyone who's like that, there is a link in the description box. If you want to suggest a business or a person who you want to feature on Financially Incorrect, please do click in that link, fill in that survey, and we'll reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to come and have an episode and shoot an episode with us. So for today, I have with me a person who's one of probably my oldest friends, literally speaking, but he is an entrepreneur now, a serial entrepreneur, and founder of Games on the Go and Charge on the Go. Games on the Go is on the M-PESA platform as well, on the M-PESA app as well. And so he's here to talk to us a little bit about those two businesses, how he became a serial entrepreneur, and how he got those going. So welcome to Financial Credit. And his name, I forgot to say his name. Because I assumed he's a friend. I skipped anyway. His name is Brian Wathome. Yeah. Welcome to the platform. Welcome to Financially Correct.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, first of all, for having me here.
No problem, definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never done this before. So
this is your first podcast
100%,
interview.
100%.
But you've done media interviews before.
I did one
Yeah.
for a product. So when I was fresh out of uni, there's a product I was heading called eResident. And we partnered with KCB Bank on that. And it was, there was an interview I did because I was featured on their... KCB have like a magazine called KCB Ventures, and it was featured on that. Yeah. So that's the only other.
That's the only interview.
Only other interaction, and it was not this kind of setup. But yeah. So thanks for having me here. But
so it should be chilled.
I think I'll get into it.
Before you even get into the business, I want to ask you a question because usually we start sort of left field before we really get into it. So my question for you today is, right? If you're at a dinner party and you finish your food on your plate before everyone else, do you get up and take your plate to the kitchen? You're assuming it's in someone's house. Okay. Or do you offer to clean up, or do you just sit in like awkward silence and wait for everyone else to finish?
So I'd assess if there's other people who have finished.
You're the first one. You're the first one to finish.
I'm the first one to finish. Then I'd relax. I'd wait to see other people finish. When we have like some sort of quorum of guys who finished, I can then offer to now help clean up. Yeah. But I'd stay put.
Yeah.
I would stay put.
Another further down the rabbit hole. If this is a dinner party,
yes,
where people came with stuff, wine, drinks, whatever the case is, you didn't come with anything.
Yes.
You for one reason or another.
Okay.
Get in. You now have dinner.
Yes.
Do you then offer to clean up?
I mean, I could, or I could just use Uber Eats and get something quickly. but I guess I would offer. I'd have to do my part if I didn't, bring
like if you didn't bring anything.
Yeah.
It would be awkward to just.
It would either do that or you become ingenious and then just look at your phone. Where am I located? Get something delivered. I mean, now it's e-commerce is everywhere.
Right.
So try and save that scenario. But if I was in that place and those were my choices, then I'd offer to clean up.
Yeah. I think, anyway, I've been on a rabbit hole around dinner parties and questions around etiquette at dinner parties. The guest that we had before this, I asked this, a similar question, but in a different line. But I'm just curious around it. Anyway, so I guess a little bit about you and a little bit about the company.
Yeah. Sure. So for me, it's an interesting story because tech was not always it was not my thing. From a young age, I was into finance, did economics at university, even worked at places like Citibank. When I came back to Kenya after uni, there's one guy, by the name of James Ayugi, who was an older friend of mine that was doing pretty interesting stuff. So when I was assessing, how do I plug back in? What can I do? He gave me a call and said, let's meet up for lunch. I have, this stuff that I'm up to. I think you would be interested. So I was like, cool. So we went, had lunch, and at the time, long story short, he's a founder of eCitizen.
Yeah.
And when I joined them, I was heading up now what I told you was called eResident, which was a rent payment platform. So I was actually handling eCitizen related stuff because at that time it was quite new and fresh, and we were onboarding partners which were MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, like counties and all this kinds of stuff. But then I was also pushing e-residence. So with that, I started to gain this very interesting insight into life and what different choices you make have to offer. Because I had thought I'd be a banker, career banker, but then I found myself sat in banks across a table with bankers, and I'm sitting here as the tech potential partner, and we're weighing out, okay, why are we picking this bank? It was a very interesting conversation. I was working straight under him, so I think one of my biggest takeaways in that sort of mentorship that I got was the fact that in tech, if you look at something that can give you what we call recurrent income, or others call it passive income, that is somewhere to look at, because you can get it when you're sleeping, you can get it at any time of the day, and you can hit the masses with that.
Right.
Yeah. Best example is like things like Netflix. Every month they're taking money from people. You're sleeping, your card has been deducted. All these kinds of things. So now, a few years down the line, 2019, myself and the CTO there left.
Whatever. Okay, so before we even get down the story, because I want to find out even how you meet James Ayugi, because I mean it's not like someone you meet on the street and you just become friends. I would assume.
Yeah.
So to come back a little bit even further back in your journey. Where do you grow up? What's growing up like? What's home life like?
Okay.
What's your education system? You talk about coming back from Kenya, so you must have been studying somewhere else.
Yes. So primary, I was in St. Mary's. Proud Saints guy. I was there for 6 years, and then I moved to Rusinga. I was in Rusinga for a few years as well, and then ended up moving to Nairobi Academy. From year 9? No, from year 8 to year 12. No, from year 10 to year. Basically, I did O levels, and then A levels in NA.
Right.
Yeah, and that was interesting because now when I went there, that was a school that had a heavy Indian presence. So academically, you had to be on top of things. When I got there, I was able to thrive there because in Rusinga and the Saints, I was with my older bro, so I was always Kevo's younger brother. So now I feel like in NA, I was able to sort of find my own identity. It was nice because there I became I was a house captain, became head boy, led the school to different sports titles and all that. And we were one of the best, if not the best, performing academic British system school at the time.
Right.
So that happened because it was British system. I was fortunate enough to now go and study in the UK at Oxford Brookes. I did economics and finance. And then from there is when I came back. Definitely thinking I was going to enter a bank. I was thinking it's either Corp, maybe NCBA, or actually at that time it was called NIC Bank. But that's where my mind was at.
Okay.
Now, how I met James was an even funnier story.
Because
I met him through my bro, because my bro had there's a time, so the company he had called Webmasters Kenya.
Right.
And Webmasters were, at that time, were still doing, websites for guys and all this. So there's a place where my bro was doing an internship. And this is the beauty about tech. So he was doing an internship at this place, and he looked at their website and was like, this is not serious. So the CEO of that company tasked him to find someone who can do this website. So my bro literally went online and just wrote website developer, and because Jemo had done his SEO well, Webmasters
popped up.
So he clicked on it. Next thing, he called them. Next thing, this website was built. Next thing, he also connected James to now my mom, because the organization wanted a website, so they also built it. In the process of it, now we all became friends.
Right.
So then, in the course of all of this, now we during holidays, I used to meet up with him. And then one time when I was coming back, actually the time when I was coming back, my mom told me, Brian, you should look for James when you come back. He's doing this citizen thing, and it looks like it's going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I mean, I was not too familiar with it. I was familiar with it in the sense that, okay, whenever I'd come back and I want to renew a driver's license, I think that was what was being used. But it's very different when you're in the fray,
Right.
when you're inside.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how that whole thing came about.
Okay.
We became friends. When I went there, he said, whatever you're going to have been offered at this bank, I'll offer you that. But now you work just directly with me and understand this journey in terms of entrepreneurship. Because even with him, we started a lot of tech companies. We even did an event for whiskey. This is the craziest thing.
Right.
But I think for me, one of the biggest things that never left me is the fact that if you look at a business that can give you recurrent income, it's the equivalent of having an investment like in, flats.
Right.
Yeah. Because flats,
you always get
exactly
money. Right.
Flats you support, but you see, flats it's potentially harder because at times where you may have 80% occupancy,
Right.
you may not have 100% occupancy at a point, and then also even when someone leaves, there's a time in which there'll be a gap when
Right.
that place is filled up, depending on where you're located and the rent amounts and all these kinds of things. But yeah, so bring it back to that aside to see, okay, this tech thing can actually be a real investment. Like you can actually have IP that has not only a good valuation to it,
Yeah.
but it can actually be generating the equivalent of what you putting in all this effort to build up flats, rent them out, do that whole process. In that time, you could have built an app which sorts out a problem statement that exists.
Right.
And yeah, onboard people, and every month,
there's some money coming
exactly.
in. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you start working, right,
Yes.
and you say you get this offer from the bank, and James says he's going to match it. Do you remember what that offer was? Because partly it sounds like your pursuit into entrepreneurship wasn't financially driven per se.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the offer from the bank was, I think at a starting level at that time was around 45K for someone who was entering at that point. He bettered the offer, but when I looked at what was at play, I just saw that, first of all, I knew that where the things were going is that tech is the future.
Right.
Banks rely on tech to grow. Banks are even trying to platformize. Look at Loop, for example. That is a system of a banks that's trying to, become its own thing. But and then also another thing for me where it was very interesting is that I was able to understand just how much M-PESA contributes to this economy, because all banks are slaves of M-PESA, because money enters your bank account and it's pulled to M-PESA. The next time a lot of Kenyans, the next time the bank account is seeing funds in there and activities when the next salary comes in.
Right.
But for the rest of the time, a good chunk of your float is sat in your M-PESA wallet. So it was also very interesting at that time because I wanted to see how can I be at the core of fintech, because I was like, I've done finance, but like if you combine finance and tech, then you're onto something.
Yeah.
And if you look at a platform even like a Citizen, where the rubber meets the road is where payments are made. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything else is just workflow automation where you go through this process,
Right.
But then at the end there, when you're making a payment, that's where fintech comes in.
Yeah.
Because you're able to be rendered a service based on the availability of a payment gateway.
Right. So how long do you work with James, and what causes you and the CTO to then leave?
Yeah, so I was there for about 3.5 years. Why we left was just at the time now this whole politics thing was getting hot. I think people realized that now this thing is actually doing stuff, and there's a lot of people who wanted to just come and disrupt it and take hold of it. And it disrupted operations for quite some time. So, at the time, myself and the CTO said, look, I have a potential way of us sorting us out in the meantime as we figure out this whole thing. Mm-hmm. So we started a company called Veru Systems, which at the time, I looked at like, what can we build? What can we do? I have some friends who, former schoolmates actually, who the own a big manufacturing talent carpet. So I went to them. I said, "Can we build a system for you? What do you guys have a pain point in, and how can we help?" So at the time, the needed a system to sort out the logistics, like the last mile delivery. So yeah, in the process, we started it up. A company, actually, the contracted Veru at the time, and then we built this software. It worked really well for them, and they were like, "Okay, can we invest in this thing or create a company, invest in it, and then resell this to the manufacturing sector?" Which is what happened. And yeah, down the line, I'm also a shareholder in that company. It's called Zazu. But now there's Talent Carpet. We have Furniture Palace, who also use it. We have Ideal Ceramics, who use it. We have Vitafoam. And there's another company called BakeX. Unga.
Yeah. Okay, so on that, it sounds very, almost laissez-faire how you like, walk into Talent Carpet Center and say, can we create a solution for you?
Yeah.
What actually is that actually how it happened? Because pitches don't. I mean, like I don't walk into an office and be like, hey, what problem do you have? I'll solve it for you.
It was like, so now I have a friend called Akshay.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Akshay, because so he was former schoolmate of mine, and he called me out of the blue. He said, "Brian, don't you do some technology stuff?" I was like, "Yes." He said, "Okay, me, I don't." So he's a salesman.
Yeah.
So he's not a techie guy.
Yeah.
So he just said, "You please come to Talent Carpet, meet with my bros, and see what you guys can do." Like, because he said,
Talent Carpet is his family's company.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went there, sat down, and then met it's a family business.
Right.
So we met, and then started to walk myself and Josh, my co-founder, through what the problem statement was. So they are good in this, but this is a heavy pain point of theirs, and it was a good opportunity because they were using a very, very serious ERP, which is Microsoft Dynamics 365, which is extremely expensive to implement. So if you want to go and customize this thing to do things like handling your last mile delivery, they are going to charge you an arm and a leg. So they say, "Can you guys build these softwares that plug into our ERP?" So
what's an ERP?
also, so ERP is like it's called an enterprise resource planning system.
Okay.
So it's basically a system that handles everything around an organization.
Right.
The big boys who offer that right now in the market are SAP, Oracle. You have the Microsoft Dynamics, of course. You have other new entrants like Odoo who've come in. There's people like Zoho.
Right.
All of them offer ERPs because ideally it's a one-stop shop that can handle everything that a business needs. It can handle the finance, it can handle the HR, it can handle the inventory management, everything.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But then the one that was there at the time didn't handle the delivery well.
And also the cost of actually implementing those things is hectic.
What's a cost example? Like, can you give me a figure?
If they were to implement this kind of system, they would do almost 100 million and above
a year.
Yeah, for the full support.
Or for the full support.
Yes. And then implementing would be a one-off cost that's pegged on something called a level of effort, which comes down to how many hours their team have put into this. So it can come, because they fly in guys, depending on the kind of level of customization. So you're dealing with guys from India, and they bill you by the minute, by the hour. So
it's not cheap.
It's not. And kudos to them, because they saw it as an opportunity as well, because this is a pain point a lot of other people have. So that company has become a pro at integrating to ERPs.
Okay.
It's integrated to SAP Business One, integrated to Odoo, integrated to Oracle, integrated to Microsoft Dynamics.
Okay. So you guys present this solution, this issue. They tell you, can you help build the tech for this?
Yes.
How long does it take your team to build that tech?
So that tech, I know we went live during COVID, and it was crazy because it was the busiest sale they've ever had. Because at that time, when this whole curfew, lockdown things were happening, people now had to invest in their personal space. Because you guys were outside.
Yeah.
But now you just had to be at home. So a lot of the money guys would typically have spent out and doing different things. They actually had a bit more disposable income, which they ironically spent. But I mean, maybe it made sense to spend up just on doing up your place. So during that, I think it was 2021, June or July, which was it's a sale period. The product went live. We had started building it about give or take 8 months before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it took about 8 months for you guys to perfect this system.
Yeah.
Okay. So 8 months of work. You build this system, and at this time you've resigned from the other job.
Yeah. This time, this is 2021, so this is 2 years down.
So you're doing this full time. Okay. So you build the solution, offer it.
Yeah.
It works well.
Yeah.
How much, if you can give me these figures? One, how much did it cost to put this thing together?
Right.
And by the time you're offering it, what are you offering it at?
Yeah. So I mean, the amount it costed, I mean, to calculate that is a bit tough because there's a lot of non-tangible costs which we can't really say, like the IP and the input that we got from even someone like the CFO of the group called Jita. Like she's a brilliant mind financially. She's customized the ERP to weird levels, and she was giving us input and doing that. So if you put a figure on that, that's crazy to put a figure on.
Yeah.
But now the amounts we charge now, it's based on basically a monthly figure of maybe $3,000 a month per company, and then that's just the standing maintenance contract. And then for the implementation is where now it comes down to the scope of work that we have.
Okay,
Yes,
in order to implement.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
So, so then, like you told us, you said that you build the system, offer it.
Yes.
They like it so much they're like, can we build a company, a JV of some sort?
Yes.
And then be able to offer this solution to other companies.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first. That's that company you build, and it sounds like you sort of have other people run it.
Yes. There's a whole dev team.
Okay.
There's functional consultants. So
Right.
I'm just there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So we're still on the journey to how you get to on the go. So what
Yes.
what comes next?
So after that, so Barrack continues doing stuff. We built a platform for under USAID. We won a bid to build a trade platform that connected US investors to Kenya and vice versa. A year after, we also won another bid to build a similar platform, but for the EU, which is also live. We've done for the US, it's called AmCham Connect, and it's domiciled on American Chamber of Commerce Kenya's website. The one for the EU is domiciled under CAPSA, and that we're continuing to build.
Okay.
Now,
how do you get these? What's the process of getting these bids? Is it purely competitive?
So I mean, the one for the USAID at the time, we had heard about it. It was published. We sent in our proposal. We came out on top. Then we built it, done, handed over, trained, did the normal change management and handled that. EU, it was, I think what helped us with the EU one was based on the fact that we had built a similar platform. So that also came into play. But I mean, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. But for us, we were ready because also I think when you're putting in your bid, you're also putting in your CVs as the team that will be working on this. And a lot of the team that have been working on this have worked on big government projects, blah 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 blah. Systems that are actually running.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So where does the idea to now like begin on the go come from?
Yeah. So on the go came from the fact that I liked still do here and there, but it was mainly back then I used to like going to new sports and all these kinds of things, and no matter what, even if I have this you have an iPhone or whatever phone it is, at some point you will lose your charge, right? And if you're away from your place for some time. So I thought about if it's you need this charge when you're on the go, right? So when I'm at home, when I'm at an office like this, there's sockets, there's you can connect to your phone. So many things that you can connect your phone to. So, long story short, found these suppliers in China who have these things, because in China it's like a standard thing. Like in Shenzhen, basically everywhere has these machines. You pick a power bank here, you rent it here, you go drop it off in another place. It's everywhere. It's a standardized thing. So yeah, got that supplier, got the machines here. Then before the machines came here, I'd actually started to scope out the places which I think would have made sense, like the places which I used to go to. So places like the Oyster Bays of this world. There was a group of 5. Shout out to them as well, because even before the machines came, they truly believed in this product, and to date, that group, because Oyster Bay that Charlie Scope has 5 companies under it, and it's one of the best performing places. But I think there's different things that have happened. Jeff Bezos said something about having operational excellence is doing things that the public won't get to see, but are essential to getting the product to where it needs to be. So there's so much before you see things like AWS and all these things come up. There's so much that goes on in that background that people don't actually know, because these are it may be coding, it may be brainstorming sessions, it may be just real thinking behind product, that then when it comes to the surface, and people are like, oh, this is pretty cool, this is nice. But the work that has gone into it is now what sets people apart. Have that. So long story short, we built our own app. We have our app on Android and iOS, so people can rent power banks doing this. The machines also have screens on them where people can advertise. So we got these places. We got malls like Village Market, Two Rivers on board. We also got a 5-year contract with Kenya Airports. So we're also at JKIA terminal, domestic terminals. So we're at Jomo Kenyatta, we're at Moi. We're venturing into Malindi, Kisumu, and Eldoret before the end of this quarter. And with that, the plan is also to just move it regionally and see how it moves. For me, what I like about those products is that they have consistent revenue channels. The ones where every weekend, every other day, people will be renting. The advertising part is where you could have on and off clients who, for example, can say, I want 6 months, I want 3 months, I want the whole year, blah blah blah. But that's something you have to continuously pitch for. But on this other side, you're solving a need that exists. People need charge, and that's why it'll never. And that's a concept that I picked, where if you solve a need, like, people will always need to renew a driver's license and all that. So even there, that story was similar. But just coming up with that sort of business is one which I found very sort of rewarding, and also the fact that you're solving a problem statement made it even more fun. Like you hear people giving their testimonials of what it did for them and all that, how it saved them at this time. It's fantastic. But coming back to it, is what made me move into that space was that Verus is like a project-based company. So you get projects, you pitch, you win, blah, 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 blah. But that's not an everyday kind of thing. So for me, I was like, how do I create a business that ensures consistent, recurrent revenue? So that's now those ones where you move from, having this coming in, a project that goes on for 6 months, you may have quiet months, and then you have another big contract. So that's what brought about Charge on the Go. It's a very straightforward product. It's a rental and all that. But for me, also a game changer with that was, at some point, I was like, how do you make it easier for people to use this application without having to download our app? Because that's another headache. Of course, in the moment, someone could download it because they need a power bank. But I was like, how do we make it even easier for the customer
to find it
and to use this thing?
I want to ask you something before that. A couple of questions, actually. One is where do you get the capital to start this to even get to China and bring in the first bit of equipment and test it, and then when do you start making money with this with charging stations? Essentially, when do you start making money with it, that it then makes sense and it's like, yes, we can scale this as a business.
Yeah. So I think also what we did is that I didn't want to blow it up by getting so many things without understanding this business. So like so many machines.
Right.
So how the capital came about was there was so my business partner is I had two choices. Either the bank to get, because there's a business plan and everything, and I guess on the stuff that's been done before, he saw, okay, this thing could actually make sense. And also because it's not a unique use case. This thing is being used in other countries.
Right.
And it's actually working fantastically. So there was that, and then I also had my dad, where I went and pitched it to him. I said, look, this is the cost of this. This is what I'm potentially looking at. These are what the potential ROIs are looking like. So would you want to come on board for this? So, it had a lot of pitching and going back and forth, just saying, show you have a contract here, show you this is going to be an output. So, that's the way it happened. So eventually, my dad put in funds. I also got funds from the bank, so it was a balance of the two.
Yeah.
And so we started off with that. This kind of business, I'd say, takes about, depending on the scale, because we started off with about 15 places, and it takes about under a year to pay back itself.
Right.
Then now from there, because there's a lot of things that have to be in place. You have to establish yourself in places that have footfall. You have to then also look at the advertising angle, like which brands would then want to advertise there. You also want to look at the power bank side. The footfall thing is what now guarantees your rentals.
Right.
Because if there's people coming in, then of course a good chunk of them will need charge, and that's how it happens. Then you also have to figure out, okay, most other people have their machines what's the word? Only unmanned. So someone just interacts with this thing. We went out of the way and thought of getting a team that also support the customers on the day, because if you're in an entertainment sport, you're at a mall and all that, you don't necessarily want to have to sit there and figure out this thing. Entertainment sports actually is where these things move the most, because people are there for prolonged hours. So a lot of our staff have now been able to just even build rapport with actual clients.
Right.
These guys are there throughout.
Right.
They go to the same places and all these kinds of things. So that's how it worked.
Okay. But it sounds like you're asking for capital from your bank and from your dad, from your family, like really early on. So I'm curious about, because it's like if I want sell a glass, right?
Yeah.
I'll sell the first glass, then be like, hey, I've sold the glass.
Yeah.
This is what the revenues are, and this is what it looks like. So I'm curious about what the pilot stage was like and what revenues you were making at the pilot stage.
Yeah, pilot stage was not easy, because you're figuring out this product. But you see, I think what also helped was that we had contracts on this other side from places where we will place these things, and that this is a kind of footfall that is there. And those guys also allow that, because this is a problem that our guys have, having to ask the waiters and all this to go charge their phones and all that. They don't want that as a story for them. They want that to be outsourced.
Right.
So basically, it's like you're outsourcing that bit of the business.
Right.
So that for me was also a pain point, because I used to go out and always my phone is dying consistently. So I said, oh, okay, how do we sort this thing out? So that is what enabled it at an early stage, very early stage, almost an ideation stage, to get that. Yes.
And even then, what are the revenues? So like, how much is it actually to rent?
So renting is straightforward. It's you pay 600 shillings and then an hourly charge of 200 bob. I think that's the standard across the market with everything. But what happens is when you put the power bank into the machine, you get a refund.
Okay.
Yes. So if you've rented it for like an hour, you get a refund of 400 bob. If you've rented it for 2 hours, you get a refund of 200. If you rent it for 3 hours, because the deposit is 600, the timer starts in the background. So that's how it works.
Okay.
So it's an hourly charge, but we pay a deposit for in the event that it's lost or something like that, then we can replace it because that's the cost.
So essentially it's 200 bob an hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, with them, it's a business which, like, when you scale, especially in the entertainment sports, it can give you pretty good revenue because even on the advertising side, each advertising slot, an advertiser pays 100 Gs a month. Yeah, we have about 12 slots. So it's if each machine ideally should actually be its own profit center.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm also curious about this. The sheer number of people who require charge, and maybe because I always like ensure my phone is I very rarely will be in a situation where I don't have charge. So maybe I'm making a biased assumption on a very subjected response on this problem. How often do people required to charge their phones? Because in my head, it's like, it sounds like a good idea, but I don't know if there are that many people who are charging their phones.
I can tell you for a fact.
Yeah.
If you just look at entertainment sports.
Yeah.
From a Thursday or from a Wednesday, depending on the place.
Right.
From a Thursday to a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Because Saturday nights end up there. There's per night, per location, you're doing about 40 rentals, which is not bad. Yes, you scale that number, it's not bad. Per location, per night.
Right.
That's a decent number of people.
Right.
Like even if you moved to even 100, that's not bad if you scale that number.
Okay.
And then you look at what the actual costs are of running the business. You don't compare to what you brought in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Then now I guess I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to see the math and the scaling and everything.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so, but then you diversify even the on-the-go business.
We diversify because of one very interesting, for me, that has been a very interesting journey.
Sorry, even before you go to diversification.
Sure.
How do you get, again, into contract with Kenya Airports Authority? Because again, that's not a small contract.
It's not. It was interesting. So that's one we pushed for quite some time. It depends. You have to maneuver. You have to. I remember there's certain things which I can use my own networks, but now why you also bring in certain business partners, that there's a certain level which you can't get to, but you can use them to get you into doors where you can now go and prove yourself.
Right.
So what had happened was, used our networks, managed to secure a pitch with the JKIA airport management team. So I went there, I showcased to them this thing and how it worked. And luckily at that time, there were certain things which I'd worked on which were, so to say, game changers, because at that time we had partnered with M-PESA and had been onboarded to the M-PESA app. So I was basically in the room and told guys, okay, open your M-PESA app, go to charge on the go. So if you guys come on board, you will see JKIA there, blah, blah, blah. So, they could see, because even they themselves wanted to outsource this whole charging thing, because they're like, the sockets we put on these chairs, people break them, what? I don't know, do you have power fluctuations at times? The JKIA actually has been an interesting story. But yeah, so we went and pitched. I went, pitched, they listened. It took quite some time. They said, this makes sense. They said, send us his documents, send us his documents, send us his documents, send us his documents. Did everything. It was, what's the word, Gazette? I don't know, there's a process for it and all that. But that whole process, took, almost a year, to get into there. Yeah, and it was, it was something which they said, look, fair enough. We don't even want to handle this. We can want to just outsource it. Yeah, that's how it came about. Yeah.
Okay, so that's JK. Okay, so what you've talked about being on the M-PESA app.
Yes.
What was the thinking behind trying to get onto the M-PESA app?
Yeah, so for me it was. I found it an interesting play because I knew from a fintech perspective, I knew people use that app more than you use any other app. In fact, people maybe use WhatsApp first, maybe Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is. Then under fintech, it is up there. No banking app comes close,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I was like, if you're trying to scale and also provide convenience for your clients, at least on the charge on the go side when I was starting, I mean, I went to M-PESA and I said, look, you guys, you're in the business of people's phones being on.
Yeah.
Yeah, when someone's phone is off, you can't transact on M-PESA, they can't call, they can't send SMSs, they can't buy data. So they're like, fair enough, give us your plan. So did that, shared the commercials, did everything. And yeah, in no time we had signed up a contract and we were onboarded onto the M-PESA app.
And so for the M-PESA app, this one is for people who either want to know where your charging locations are.
Yes. And renting also.
And renting.
Yes. Yeah.
So explain to me the renting.
So the renting is like, let's say I'm sat at Gecko.
Yeah.
And I want to rent a power bank. So I open the M-PESA app, go to Charge on the Go. It brings me the locations. I see Gecko over there. I click on Gecko. I pay. I even just ask a waiter, please could you go and get the power bank for me? When I pay, the thing comes out, the waiter picks it up, brings it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have to rent it from a location where you're based.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's all location based, and that's why we try and diversify. We're trying to scale to put it in more and more locations where people will be at. But ideally, from our data so far, we know the kind of locations to put these things at.
Okay.
Because where the numbers make sense, where people stay there for prolonged hours, also make that business make sense. And yeah, but then also places like the airports, we want to focus more on those kind of things. Getting into SGR as well, and this kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we get to diversification, right?
Yes.
So what's the need for? You said it comes about from an interesting discussion that you had.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, so through being on M-PESA, I realized this is such an interesting angle, which is because you have a captive audience, and people use this app. So like, if I wanted to, for example, if I want to market Charge on the Go or something, I'll send you a text with a deep link. You click on that link, it takes you directly to my app. That you unlock your M-PESA, it takes you directly into my app.
Right.
So, me and some of the team, you know, we've enjoyed. We like gaming,
Right.
So, but I looked in the market and I was like, there's no skill-based multiplayer kind of gaming that people can do on game nights and all these kinds of things. Because I was like, young, I used to play Animal Kingdom,
Right.
and these things.
Right.
I was like, how do we come up with trivias and like fun, like stuff that you can do socially? Because also to create a new narrative, because in Kenya, like, you know, when you hear people hear gaming, people say, oh, are you betting? Are you gambling?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is it. So anyways, I decided to create a company called Games on the Go. I registered it in September 18 last year. September 18th when I registered it. And then by the time I was registering it, we built the ecosystem around the gaming, had gotten games, built our own games, gotten open source IP, which we're able to customize. In fact, there's some new games which we won't even customize for Kenya, like a Temple Run, but for Kenya.
Right.
Like a guy called Juma just taking off, dodging,
Right.
tennis, you know, like localized stuff.
Yeah.
But then now in the process, like I was like, how do you actually scale this thing when I don't want to have to go and then look for now investor to come in and who's not even really understood what I'm trying to do here?
Yeah.
So I went back to M-PESA and I said, look, I have this product. And I think this thing, if you look at it from a skill-based perspective and a social gaming perspective, has a lot of legs to it. So he said, okay, tell us more. Why do you think this avenue could work? I said, because there's not been enough focus on this side of gaming. And actually at the time, SportPesa was the other gaming partner there. But then right now, that whole gaming category was betting companies.
Right.
We are there, but we feature on gaming and entertainment. But for me, I was like, we can create a narrative where there's, we call them hyper casual gaming because it's not esports. And the thing about esports is like, we need to be realistic. You see, like one of my mantras is that when you're building tech, at least in Africa, you build tech for reality, not for privilege. So why I wanted this games on the go to be domiciled exclusively, initially at least, and for as long as we want on that M-PESA app is because it has the masses. Everyone can access this thing. And then I'm not spending time trying to download an app for iOS, trying to create an app for iOS where, first of all, majority of the market don't have iPhones. And then also convincing those guys with iPhones to go and download this app is another story. And I was like, based on this M-PESA, people with iPhones, people with Android, all have that app. So by anyone in this room actually has my app.
Yeah.
So without me having to convince you to download it.
Right.
So now all I need to do is to actually activate you.
Right.
To make you engage with this thing.
Right.
So, yeah, long story short, we September 18th is when the business was registered. December 18th, it was published on the M-PESA app.
Okay.
So it was
about 3 months,
sprint.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy sprint. Like, going through this, doing QA, doing this all at once. And then, when it was published, that's when I actually, especially with that, because it's a fully digital product, and like Charge on the Go, where
there's a physical element to it.
Exactly.
Right.
This is fully software, and you can reach, and even someone in Wajir can go and play that game if communicated and the value proposition makes sense to them.
So, do people pay to play the game?
Yes, people pay to play the game.
All right.
So now there's two elements to it. What happened is that we started off with them, and we're still pushing the M-PESA angle, which is growing very well without us doing any marketing, because that's just being on the app.
Yeah.
But now we want to actually start doing a proper marketing campaign. And now we're in the process of going live on M-PESA Go as well.
Right.
M-PESA Go is a version of M-PESA app, but is one that is curated specifically for the audience who is 11 to 17 year olds.
Right.
So they are onboarded by their parent or a guardian. They upload their birth certificate and their passport. KYC is done, and by that time they're uploading that, the kid has a phone and they have a number. And now, initially, what the kids could do was to just do the normal M-PESA transactions. They could send money, and then, of course, lipa na M-PESA.
Right.
But they could not load their wallet. Even now, the wallet is loaded by maybe a friend or an uncle sending you this, mom or dad loading your wallet. But now, what has happened is that they're also introducing the mini apps to M-PESA Go.
Okay.
And Games on the Go is now
one of them.
The gaming partner on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What difference has going the M-PESA route made for your client acquisition? Like, how many clients have you acquired without having to technically do any marketing?
So, for example, Games on the Go, we have about 60,000 clients. No marketing. Zero marketing at all.
Yeah.
Active of those is about 10,000. Those are decent numbers.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at this...
And what's the price point? What are they paying? What's the range?
So now the range is you pay 10... So the standard is 20 shillings for every 24 hours. So in a month, it's 20 times...
30, whatever.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So you do that times the number, it's not a bad business.
Yeah.
And this is the thing I was telling you about, like this, especially this gaming one, because I'm like, you can get to the masses. Like for me, the M-PESA angle was the best. That's why I didn't even want a VC or anything, because you'd go and say, oh, put it on iOS, put it on this. But I was like, I know this market. Convincing people to go and download a standalone app that's not like an e-citizen, which you have no choice but to use that platform, is a different story completely. But here, if you can get to them, present a good value proposition, and then now engage them consistently with an app that they already have and with an app that they won't delete.
Yeah,
that's another story.
Yeah, because you can't delete it technically.
Exactly, because you see, like a lot of, because all of these decisions also are guided by data. Kenyans, like let's say the masses who are not using a phone like this, you have to be wary of the storage space on your phone.
Right.
So if that's the case, I'm going to keep apps that are mission critical.
Right.
I won't keep apps that are just for fun. But even if I download it, I'll download it to see what's on there
and then
delete it.
Right.
But I know with M-PESA, you're consistently there.
Right.
You're going nowhere.
Right.
So for that, the strategy now moves around how do we activate and engage these people. Yeah, and for me, that's why even the M-PESA Go story is brilliant, is that you have parents and you have the kids who, one of the things I really wanted was to create positive screen time. Like, you're going to, these people are going to be on their phones anyways and doing stuff, but like, why don't we create a positive environment for them to be
on the screens?
Yes, on the screen. So
Right.
like with the M-PESA Go, like how can these kids do multiplayer games? Because there's a game we created called Chess Trivia that has all kinds of questions on Kenya, geography, history, we even threw in constitution.
Right.
So like guys start learning about what their rights are from a very young age. And, just pushing that narrative that, and then another thing that we brought in was a multiplayer, which is a social gaming where you put your friend's number, they're added to it. You guys, you could even be 100 and I'm here at my place, you're there, we're competing. Game nights is used at schools, it's just a new tool to create positive engagement.
Right.
That's of value. We even have a Bible trivia, which we're partnering with Kubamba TV to push. So
Right.
it's just like fun stuff that you can offer people. But for me, where I like that angle is that we can hit the masses. Scaling is just a matter of the strategy you come into place because you have an active user base. And I think, in my opinion, that when people actually converge on that app, it's a game changer to even the mini app partners, because you'll find that our apps, even if we had a standalone app, this other app would get more
Traction than the standalone.
Exactly.
Question: What does it cost you to activate, or what's the process of activating? Because you're saying
so activating comes in different ways. Like now, we're going to have a campaign where we'll be doing push SMSs to people, push notifications, and then the social medias. So you have like an influencer who has he's talking about this with a different audience.
Right.
So
far, what I'm curious about is for these 60,000 people who've downloaded,
Yes.
has it been purely off of curiosity? Like I'm on the M-PESA app and I just see this game, so they go and I download
So
it.
now there's things that happen. Like there's a banner that's put there.
Right.
You don't know how many people see that thing. It's crazy. 'Cause, it's for me as well, because you see a spike in the numbers.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, it was that. There's other things like even just a push notification from the M-PESA app. A push notification.
It does wonders.
Spike.
Yeah.
Texts like bulk SMS that are sent out to people.
And I would assume these are things that the M-PESA app charge the mini apps for.
Yes. So
Okay.
because you're in a partnership.
Yes.
So there's a way in which we
Yeah.
both gain. But
Yeah.
ideally for them, converging everyone there makes sense for them because more transactions happen within the app.
Yeah.
Because you see, if I had a standalone app that I was pushing, you would only earn at the point of you now making your payment. And if it's off the app, remember, I can also pay using card, I can pay using all these different things.
Yeah.
But if it's on M-PESA, because it's built on the ecosystem, it will be M-PESA.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of benefits from both, just having it as a one-stop shop for people. I think that's a vision they had and have. And then bringing in clever partners, like some guys called Trips, of a brilliant product, by the way. But just coming up with, for me, that has been the difference. Like these small things, like even now when we ourselves are now starting to market, like we partnered, we've onboarded some big influencers, especially even for M-PESA Go. We're going to have like influencers who have an audience that are parents, knowing that every month I'm paying this subscription for my kid.
Right.
We get 100,000 subscriptions of 300 bob.
You're
That's
good.
pretty decent money.
Right.
You get, you continue growing the product. You get even the kids themselves to understand the value prop. They talk about it with their friends. They play it with their friends. They themselves can also pay for the subscription. So we're not limiting it to anyone. Even the parents themselves can go and play on the main app.
Right.
Yes. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question because we're getting towards the end of the interview, but I'm curious because again, this is financially incorrect. It's business edition, but talk about money. But it looks like when I think about the story you've given me, your thread through finances, so to speak, looks like it's built on the backbone of networks to some extent.
100%.
From because of who your brother interacted with, you then meet James and form a relationship.
Yes.
That then gets you that first gig.
Yes.
Because of the school that you went to, you meet the family that owns Thailand Carpet Center, and your former schoolmate gives you an opportunity to pitch, which you pitch and then create value and build something from there. And then to build this other business, you have the option of your dad or the bank to facilitate you to get this business going. And then you've talked about the networking, you know, the people you brought into your company that allowed you to network at a level to get you into the Kenya Airports Authority. The M-PESA one, you said that was a pure pitching process, right? To get them on board. So it sounds like like a lot of this financial journey, so to speak, has been built on the back of networks.
So a lot of things is that life is how opportunities present themselves in different ways. But of importance is when these opportunities present themselves, that you're ready to latch onto them and run with it.
Right.
So for me, I think personally, like let me even speak subjectively, as like one of my strengths is networking. Now, if you can use that well enough and just not shying away from, engaging different people, but then also at the same time showing that you're also bringing something, because you see also people, human beings, we're inherently we think about ourselves first. So if you can bring a proposition to someone where you say, this is actually going to help you beat with your KPIs, beat with this, and then you just get a good rapport going, that's how you now maintain these relationships. And I think for me, one of our strengths is continuous innovation. We don't just sit still. We come back to our partner and say, by the way, we've innovated and this is how we're going to do this that can make you benefit and us all of us benefit.
Okay. So as we're wrapping up, what's the financial health of both the on-the-go businesses? Have you been able to repay back the money that you were able to, the facility you were able to take?
Yes. So for the charge on the go, we paid back the facility. Now we're just looking to actually expand in terms of just bringing more machines, getting into other countries. In fact, we've registered it in Rwanda. I'm looking to get into Rwanda pretty soon as well. For games on the go, we've it's not really had any investment. Okay, if I look at it like strictly speaking, if it's an investment of how much we paid the devs and all that, that was basically bootstrapping.
What's a bootstrapping range? Give me a bootstrapping range. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million.
Bootstrapping for this one, for games on the go specifically, has been around about 1 M.
About $1 million. Okay.
Which in the scope of things is not for a whole platform as ready and can be used. It's not bad, and we actually have apps. The app version that's ready to be published on iOS and Android is there. It says we haven't decided to publish it because why are we going to go and do that in the M-PESA? So for now, that's where we're at for games on the go.
So it's made its money back.
Yes, it's made its money back. And now the way I see it, like in the entire ecosystem, the GOTG is going to be the cash cow. Because it's a mass product. You can speak to anyone, engage them, give them the right value prop. They have your app ready. Over 20 million people, I can say, have my app. You get
by M-PESA.
Because of M-PESA.
So
with that, it's just now, how do you speak to these guys? And then how do you keep them there? Keeping them there is that, yes, the app, the mother app, which is M-PESA, they'll never delete it, but how do they continuously come back to your mini app? And I think that's where we have spent a lot of time sort of trying to understand, seeing how to curate our story towards that. And then help even just M-PESA team innovate in terms of how can we continuously create fun and new innovations that keep guys within this app.
Right. Let me ask you a question, because you said you've been in the tech space, of course, for some time. What would it cost you to have, you said you have, is it 60,000 registered, 10,000 active. What would it have cost you to acquire 60,000 downloads of an app separately?
It would cost...
If you are doing this, out of the M-PESA ecosystem, and you're doing this in the real world, so to speak.
Let me just say a lot of millions.
Yeah.
A lot. Because to get that
60,000.
yes, and then active,
So that's 6,000 converted,
yes,
which means at an average conversion rate would be what percent of
so a conversion rate of, so let me just
for
put
downloads,
the CAC, the customer acquisition cost of such a platform, of typically a fintech platform that has its different things going, is around in Africa is about $20.
Okay.
Yeah. So you do $20 then
Times that's 60,000.
Yeah.
What does that come to? That's it's going to
120,000.
do the $120,000
Yeah.
times now one
No. 60 times
60
2
is 120 is 120.
120.
So add this, so it's 1.2 million.
Yes.
And then now multiply that by the Kenyan
Yes.
yeah. Times $1.2 million. So turn that into Kenyan currency.
Yeah.
Yeah. 156 million.
Yes. That is, and also if you look at it.
So basically this M-PESA strategy has saved you 156
it's
million.
a game changer. Look at the cost of what acquiring a betting customer is.
Yeah.
You know how much they spend. It's not a joke. And now you're playing in that sort of, it's a different ecosystem, yes, because this is skill based, not chance. But still, even you see now here, our proposition has to be even harder.
Yeah.
You get, because we're not giving a jackpot of 424 M. No, so it's just
Yeah.
you have to really be clever with it, and that's why for us the M-PESA angle just makes
Okay.
sense.
Fantastic. So finally, how do you what's the future? What's the financial success and future for on the go with both of them?
Yeah, that's a very good question. For me, I have like medium term success is having 100,000. So short term success is the next quarter getting to 100,000 subscribers, but I want to have 100,000 active monthly subscribers.
That's like times 10 of where you are right now.
It's times 10.
That's a lot.
But we've not marketed.
Okay.
Yes. We have not marketed at all.
Now
Yes.
is when you have to
Yes.
start.
Yes,
Okay.
we have not marketed, done any of that. So that's that. And then also, remember, another entire ecosystem, a new platform is being opened up to us, which is M-PESA.
Go.
That's a whole different clientele that we were not dealing with before.
Yeah.
So for us, that's how I want to start looking at that. But a longer term proposition is 1 million active users. And with that flat amount of, let's say we can even rate it at 300 bob.
Yeah.
That for me is a success, because you've brought in, and at that point, by the way, when you hit certain numbers like the 100Ks and all this, the thing starts growing on its own, just because these digital products, when you hit a certain number, they just start growing on their own.
Yeah.
Minimal
Acquisition costs.
it starts to go down. It's heavy when you start, right?
Yeah.
But then, so for that, it's the same thing. For charge on the go, I'd say for me, a success metric is just being domiciled within the region.
Yeah.
Yes, within the region. So Kenya, TZ, Uganda, Rwanda, DRC.
Yeah.
Kenya, TZ, and DRC, those are easy to get into because of M-PESA. Because once you're on the M-PESA app, you can actually scale to other countries that M-PESA Africa is in.
Okay.
Yes, because the super app ecosystem
right allows for
those,
that.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is sorry, I should have asked this earlier, but the charging business, because you said it's scaled all around the world. What's a typical business like that one doing in revenues right now?
So it depends. So those ones, like if you're doing it in a decent way, is doing about, like if you're now actually pushing numbers and where you've and it depends on how you look at it, because there's, if you use the charging and the advertising, because we have both going on.
Right.
If you're actually fully utilizing that with even just what we have, you would be doing about 250,000 to 300,000 US monthly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a decent business. It's just that in my head, I'm just like charging.
Yeah. But you see, the thing is like,
but I get
and you see, charging is one of the things where it's something that will always be like a but we combined it with the ad tech. Yeah,
and it moves. Okay, man, thank you so much for coming on to Financial Incorrect and giving us this story. I hope, I mean, if you're in the software space in one way or another, you have an app.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, M-PESA is the M-PESA app or M-PESA route can save you money and many other things. Anyway, final thing you want to say before we wrap up?
I mean, for me, I just say that, first of all, thank you once again for this. And I'd say, but it would be great to have like a follow-up. If you guys have a Q&A, because there's so much. I feel like another thing that's not really been focused on is if people can give answer questions that are in the public sphere and just use the experience to help people with these things is a critical thing. And then also, if you guys could potentially, from this program, like M-PESA, financially correct, have a way in which if some of the people who've been on the show, especially in the business fray and all these kinds of things, want to be mentors, have a program for that.
Yeah.
Where we have mentors, because there's a lot of guys seeking knowledge, seeking how do I get to, and guys with brilliant ideas, like crazy brilliant guys, but you just don't know how do I access these people, how do we do this? So just a thought for you guys, because you have already a platform, another way of, just
trying to do something.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. We'll definitely look into it.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you guys for watching Financially Correct Business Edition. We will see you guys in 2 Tuesdays from now. Cheers.